Welcome to Real 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Real 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes.
Well, welcome to the Real 45 podcast, everyone. And I'm going to get right into it. It's the Thanksgiving period. It's a time for everybody to sit back, kind of have a gather up of all the great things in life and what we can be thankful for, right? In America, anyway, we celebrate Thanksgiving, and I'm celebrating at probably where am I, about 32,000 feet on a flight between Warsaw and another part of the world. Doesn't matter where we're headed, where we're going, or where we've been. I'm living the dream, and I'm pretty thankful for that to begin with. So, never done a podcast in the sky. This will be the first ever. I'm rocking solo again today. Stefan is probably not celebrating Thanksgiving, but in a way he is, because he has to, because he knows me. I don't know how many American friends he has, but friends, colleagues, workmates, whatever. Anyway, it's Thanksgiving. Stefan, happy Thanksgiving. And to all of you out there, happy Thanksgiving. And I'm just going to kind of reflect because, I have a lot to be thankful for. Number one is my family. Goes back to mom and dad, and of course all our grandparents and all that, and brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and aunts, and right up to most recent day, and my amazing wife and my 3 great kids. What more do you need to be thankful for when you got all that, But it's all part of life, you have good days, you have hard days, not so good days, or days that can be better. And no matter what, when you get home and you got all the comforts of the great family, it's you just go, yeah, it's not so bad, is it? Or now I know why it's so good. And it is. It's awesome. It's super cool. So we try to give our kids the benefit of learning and understanding, and you always say thanks. It costs nothing. Did I say nothing? It costs nothing to say please or to say thank you, and no matter what you do. And that value is something that I was taught from a very young age, and it's something that stuck with me. So the people that don't have the time or the generosity or even just the common knowledge to say please or the thank you, I don't have a lot of respect for, and it doesn't matter. That's just for me. However, my kids, they will have respect, and just as my parents taught me, because it makes you feel so much better. And like I said, it doesn't cost anything, so you got to roll with it. So I'm thankful for all those cool things. Everybody knows that if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably listening because perhaps you got to know me through the world of Speedway or what have you. But this sport has brought me so many good things, has taken me so many great places, has showed me so many cool things, and taught me the life skills that I am probably more prone to live today. So from everything of learning to work hard, the work ethic, the will to win, the desire never to give up, and of course to learn how to do your accounting and dealing with responsibilities, how to survive every day. And again, those things are all installed to us, whether they came from, started with your parents right up to your school days, close friends, colleagues, workmates, admirers, or advisors. And of course, by learning from your idols or your heroes, and just reading or watching and see what they do and how they do it. So these kind of things are always impressive and fun to do. So for me, I had I had it, in a way, rolled out in a red carpet because my mom and my dad, they're great people, and they surround themselves with good people, and have always been respectful and respected, I should say. So maybe been too nice sometimes, and we all get walked over when you're overly nice because people just see an opportunity to take from you, but those aren't the kind of people you want to be surrounded by. So you got to keep on rolling, you know what I'm saying? But I got involved in this cool sport of Speedway. Went to school with friends that raced Speedway, and some of them stuck with it for a long time, some of them didn't stick with it for very long, but we all have our path and we choose which way we want to go, you know, and some take off and they go to school and they carry on studying and learning and going on to be doctors or lawyers or construction workers or plumbers or financial advisors and all sorts, or they go off and they become professional athletes and go and chase the dream and travel the world and do all kinds of cool things. So I'm in that category, chasing the dream and living the dream and living and learning as we go. So for me, this is like one of the greatest life achievements that I've got, because I've learned so much from it, and the people that have showed me the way have always given me the best advice. And you know, it goes right back to guys, you know, from my first job right out of school, or while I was still in school, I should say, delivering paint for the Sonic Paint Company, a company that my mother worked for many, many, many years. And that was more or less my first real job of it's automotive paint industry, and we used to deliver from our company's location in Costa Mesa and all around the Costa Mesa area, right through the Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Santa Ana, Garden Grove, down as far south as Laguna, and even further sometimes. And there's a pretty wide spread network of body shops that we used to have to deal with. So it was pretty fun. You know, I hadn't just got my driver's license, and right off the bat got a job delivering paint. So it was pretty cool. Learned how to mix paint, how to mix colors, and a little bit of color matching, which definitely was not my thing. But I got the feel for a lot of that stuff, and then I ended up going on and working in a body shop with good friends, people from a company called Found Valley Paints, and working with great people like Brian Foray and my brother and my uncle in different spots too, and down in Saddleback. You know, the list is long, but what I'm saying is you learn something along the way, and at some point you picked up a new job opportunity, or you picked up a new valuable piece of life. And one of the coolest things I think that I did is I went from the paint industry into the construction industry, all through who became a very, very good friend of mine and still is today, even though we don't have as regular contact as we always did before. And that's probably more fault than my own than his, that the distance keeps that away. But a guy by the name of Gary Schmidt, and he was working in a skylight company, installing skylights in houses and buildings, and mainly residential, but some commercial too, and got a job working with him. And suddenly I started making a little bit more money, but learning the skill was one thing, but he also became like a second father figure at the same time, and teaching me how to manage my money and how to spend money wisely. He was a speeder rider himself. He didn't do it so much professionally, more for fun, and had a good time. Really tall dude, and probably found it more difficult to fit into the bike than a short little dude like me. But he did it, and he understood it, and was very knowledgeable about the sport and the mechanical side of it as well. So between that and other mutual friends, we spent a lot of time driving to jobs, preparing for jobs, working at jobs, driving home, clean up, and that dude took me to the next level, you know, from just what you learned at home and school, and suddenly you think you know everything, and what do your parents know, right? But this dude was always very, very straight with me, and told me things that I should look out for, and things I could do to be better, and never, it was like unconditional too, you know. He could get frustrated with me too, but at the same time he didn't want me to fail and didn't want me to make mistakes. So silly things, as much as probably one of the most valuable things he taught me, even though I probably didn't listen in the beginning, was credit cards, right? As soon as you're old enough to get a credit card, which is, you know, it could be 16 or 17 years old in the US, if your parents will co-sign for it, and suddenly you got a credit card and you feel like, okay, I've got a credit limit of $10,000. That means I got $10,000 to spend. So you go and you spend it, right? And then you spend how many years paying crazy amounts of interest trying to pay off that credit card. And one of the things he always taught me, and I've since that period, I definitely went into debt for, you know, for 3, 4, 5 years or something like that, trying to pay off those darn credit cards, and then you get another credit card to pay off that credit card, and pretty soon you're living the California dream, right? You live on credit, and I'm sure they do that around the world too, but credit cards were so easy to come by at that period, especially when you're young. Kids shouldn't be allowed to have credit cards. If you don't have money in the bank, you shouldn't be able to buy anything. And that was the thing. He said, if you don't have the money in the bank, don't use the credit card. If you got the money in the bank to pay the credit card off at the end of the month, go for it. Sure. That's what you think when you're that age, right? It is what it is. But yeah, you live and you learn, and it's all part of growing up and all part of understanding what life's all about, these things. So these days I preach what I was taught, and sometimes you step outside of the box, but that has always worked for me. And you know, you make choices what you're going to do and how you're going to spend your money, or how you're going to set up your equipment, and don't spend too much here and don't spend too much there. But budgeting and doing the right thing, it's you don't want to make mistakes, you don't want to fail, but sometimes you have to make mistakes to learn how to do it right. And no matter how much people tell you, you have sometimes got to experience yourself. So Gary has been a super cool dude. We've spent many hours on the phone over the years talking, you know, when I've been in Europe and then been back home, and worked a little bit in the wintertime with him too in the early days. And then even when you had good times, you talked through the good times, and when you had hard times, no matter what it could have been personal, it could have been financial, it could have been just mechanical or what have you, but we always shared a lot of cool information. So in the end of the day, you taught me the rad life lessons and how to go forward. But that moves right up all the way through your career. You go from one person to the next person, and for me, I went from the US to Europe and been all around. So meeting cool people. I've always had an open mind, and I've always kind of not went through everything with tunnel vision. I've kind of make sure that I saw everything, and that's how you meet people. You know, you gotta keep your eyes and ears open, and never really kind of like close yourself in where you're you know, you're unapproachable or non-sociable or what have you. So I think that I was a pretty quiet dude back in the day, but that sure has changed, if you haven't noticed. The guy who's talking on a podcast right now. Anyway, it's all part of the life experience, and I'm stoked to say that I'm still living it and learning every day. So that came right through to great sponsors, great mechanics, great friends, you know, that show you the way as you go. So all in all, this podcast was about being thankful, and it's short and sweet. And besides that, it's Thanksgiving. We'll leave it like that, and I'll tell everybody, have a great Thanksgiving, each and every one of you. And remember, be thankful and be good peoples. Thanks for listening. This is the Real 45 podcast, as you know, and I'll see you all next week. Take it easy, guys. Ciao.
Out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Real 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes on replay. Ayy, Real 45. Yeah, Real 45. Show them how we do it, man. Yeah.